Well, it's the 10th of July 2019 and it's about 8:30 in the evening. It's been a beautiful day. I've been out and about working in the sunshine all day, and this job suits me down to the ground. I'm not in the same place for more than a matter of seconds on a day-by-day basis, and it feels like another thing that's just been gifted me that suits me down to the ground. I had such horrendous realities to face at the beginning of this year. And slowly but surely things started to come along for me and say, look, here you go. Here's something that you require. Here is the basics, the fundamentals. Were it a meal I required, and that would have sorted out my problems there and then, to be able to have the strength to move on and alter my life. That's what it would have been. All of these things that have come from me would have been, look, here's your £10, get your meal, there's your strength. What you do from here on in with that strength is your choice. And I feel that life has gifted me a series of things that I really needed on a very basic and fundamental level. The very, very core of what I needed to move on with this life of mine. I was gifted it and given a very strong message. Here you go, you're here now. What you do is your deal. If you fuck this up, that's it. And I feel I've learned so much with the way life and the universe has moved for me during my lifetime, that I know how to appreciate, and I know how to look after, and I know how to nurture now. And I didn't until very recently. I'm also beginning to understand the whole concept of retrospect being a thing which is just me, and it's never going to change. There are things that are a part of us that are there on a kind of DNA deep level. They aren't aspects of us which we can deprogram and change. I've fought this reality that I'm a very retrospective soul for far too long. I don't find joy in the moment. I do a little bit more than when I was younger, or even in the last year or so. But I know that's time and tide and age changing me, as opposed to anything really sort of radical altering within my spirit and soul. I'm not going to spend the rest of my life trying to wish away the truths of who I am. I'm open to the concept of change. I understand these days that when I see the beauty of a flower growing, that it is a reaction. An equal and an opposite reaction. The sun comes out, it shines upon something which could be beautiful and will be beautiful if it opens itself up to the sun and allows those life-giving rays to penetrate. The mixture of water and sunshine and all of those good things make the beauty that you can see in this very video. And we're no different. I've got a very good friend in my life at the moment who describes life as being punctuated with rays of sunshine. Those people who fill our lives with a radiance and a joy which we can choose to embrace and absorb and react to, and open our petals and show our true colours as a reflection of them and ourselves. Or we can just reject it and we can live in the shade. You know, all of these concepts that the sort of hippie mentality have hijacked over the years and made their own. You know, you can see there's a lot of truth in it, but you can't just see those things and wish them to be concepts that you understand. So many things have come my way in my life where I've said, yeah man, and repeated it verbatim. And the truth of the matter is, you need to walk many miles and make many errors and witness much darkness to understand the concept of shadows and light, and the concept of the brief flourish of beauty which this life is or can be, by just getting out here and looking at the sunshine, looking at the flowers, looking at the reaction of a beautiful warmth that exists in this summer which its lease is far too short, to quote William Shakespeare. Summer's lease hath all too short a date, and it's so true. And everything is there for us to learn. Mother Nature, Father Nature, whatever concept you want to call it, whatever name you want to nail to it, teaches us everything we need to know. God, I'm so tired tonight. I feel like I'm actually drunk. Been up since 10 to 6 this morning, and I have worked damn hard today, and it's a very physical job. And I'm tired, but I feel good. It is just so obvious to me, and with the teachers that I am blessed with at this point in my life, who range in age from 6 years old to people right at the end of it all, people in their 80s. There are people in my life teaching me so much at the moment. It's really striking me looking in that viewfinder how much weight I've lost. I think it's probably obvious to you as well. But it's just a situation where I'm very open to the concepts which I've mocked and rejected in my past. I don't want another second of this life being wasted on trying to change myself or mould myself into shapes that just don't suit me. I fully accept that I've tried, I've complained about being treated as a square peg when in fact I only fit in round holes. And the architect of the worst exporting of that notion has been myself. I've tried fitting myself into ideas and concepts which I love the idea of. I love the shapes and the aesthetics and the tactile nature of, but they don't suit me. They're beautiful to look at, and it's wonderful that they exist, but I can't pretend that they suit me, and I can't pretend that they fit me. But who'd have believed when I was making videos back in January, not that I'm really that important to anybody, not that anybody sort of takes it on board, but quite often addressing myself in these videos. But I really, to sum this up, when I was making a video back in late January, early February, saying my relationship is over, I'm 150 miles away from my daughter, my life is just in ruins, which it was. Who would have believed that 6 months later, here I am, having travelled back 150 miles to be close to my daughter, having found such wonderful people who are guiding me into situations which are so much in my control, but deliciously out of my control as well, where I'm on a weekend by weekend basis finding myself in environments and places that I never thought I'd go, talking on a level that goes from the frivolous, the puerile and the absurd to the deep, the beautiful, and sharing depths of new friendship and love that I never thought possible. All of this is keeps me in mind of a concept which I talked about a lot, which I was very aware of, which I wanted to be true, which I talked about a lot in videos back at the turn of this year, the beginning of 2019, and that was that when things go as disastrously wrong as they did in my life, you need to kill it with fire, and you need to see what goodness can grow from the ashes, what fertility still exists, what seeds and cocoons are actually only ever going to be sparked by the fire and the inferno that ensued. And so much has happened that has proved there was so much fertility that still existed, that situation needed killing with fire for all concerned to see what beauty and what new growth could come from it. And my complete and utter rejection of the whole sort of stereotypical dogma of having been exposing myself to a sort of real hippie punk ethic for my entire life. Only when I rejected it and only when I stepped away did I realise how many truths I'd plastered upon the world over the years with little conviction, meaning or passion, that actually turned out the moment I fell silent and thought this isn't for me, but I realised they were all true. I'm very grateful for the life that I've had, and the cliches and platitudes and the the trite, meaningless bullshit that I've come out with and talked about over the years, because so much of it has turned out in the wake of the inferno that ensued in my life at the beginning of this year. So much of it has turned out to be completely true. And as I say, it was only the devastation and the inferno that did conspire against me and with me, for me, and I lit the match with many others, set it on fire and watched it burn. One of the most painful sights in my world were the flames and the destruction that I witnessed, but I wouldn't have believed the joy that was awaiting me. You know, I'm not pretending that life's a complete and utter bed of roses for me at this point in time. It's still very painful at times, but I have love, I have peace, and I have understanding. And for that, I am so grateful. But that concept spoke loudly to me, kill it with fire. And from that moment on, when I realised things had ended, a certain point in my life, a certain chapter in my life had truly ended, I truly walked away from it. I truly stepped to one side and I let it die, because there was no life to breathe into it. And you know, one of the ironies is the person involved, you know, the other significant person in all of this. Obviously there were three of us at the core of it, my ex-partner, my daughter and myself. All of us have moved on. I know that my daughter still feels a lot of pain in the light of her mother and I no longer being together, but the people that she's met and the joy that she's discovered in the people that her mother and I have got close to, I know have enriched her life on levels that please me immensely. I'm so glad that she's still so happy and well adjusted. But for all three of us, we've found new things and life has improved, and we've found, on very brief and sporadic manifestations of this, me and my ex, we've found occasional flashes of recognition and laughter and smiles in the way that we briefly communicate these days. Who knows what the future holds? I'd love to think that we can be good friends, because she's a cracker of a person, and I basically just wish everybody that's ever come close to me nothing but love. God bless.